The next one is John Gould, and he's coming in via audio-visual link.
Kia ora koutou. Am I good to go?
Yes, you're all good to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. Just a quick word on my whakapapa. I'm a Canterbury man, born and bred, but from the original Canterbury in the southeast of England, a famous Roman city 2,000 years old. I'm new to Christchurch. I've only been here 25 years, but anyway, I hope I've got something to contribute.
Thank you.
I want to make a few comments on transport and then on water supply. First of all, I generally support the proposed expenditure on transport for the transport environment in the categories of asset renewal. But my concern is that given the climate and ecological emergency that the council and all of us are acknowledging, the Christchurch City Council has to vigorously pursue rapid reduction in its emissions. And the promotion and facilitation of greater use of public transport and personal transport such as cycling, e-bikes and electric scooters provide the best opportunity for reducing the city's emissions. It was acknowledged in the Otatahi Christchurch Climate Resilience Strategy in 2021 that over 50% of the city's emissions come from transport. And so the urgent completion of the cycleway network, taking people to all parts of the inner city and suburbs, is essential. Climate disruption will become more common and costly over the years ahead, and more people will want to shift to climate-friendly modes of transport. Now, there are a number of items relating to the cycleway network and appropriate transport improvements flagged in your budget proposals, but most of them are for the 2023-24 year allocation, and I'm suggesting that these should be brought forward to the 2022-23 budget, given the urgency of the situation. Now, given that it may take some time for people to switch from private to public and active transport options, one of the intermediate steps that can be taken is to encourage greater carpooling. If you carpool with a colleague on the way to work, it halves your carbon footprint, it halves your fuel costs, it improves both the environment and it improves your well-being. So it really is a win-win on all fronts. And I'll just put up a quick advert. I don't know if you can see that, but we're promoting this out at Lincoln University where I'm working.
Do you want to pull it back a bit, John? And let it settle on their camera.
I think it's the filter as well.
No, I think the filter's not letting us see it.
Okay. Fair enough. Just says, be cool, carpool. Carpooling is good for the climate, saves you money, and helps build friendships. On the transport note, another way of encouraging carpooling is to do what they do in Auckland with their dedicated T2 and T3 priority lanes, particularly during peak hours. I believe this is being trialled on the Northern Motorway in Christchurch, and will be a good way to both reduce congestion and has the co-benefit of reducing emissions. Finally, on the point of transport and greenhouse gas emission reduction, it's very important to realize that we think that we've got to reduce emissions, but actually there's already too many greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. If we just even stopped all emissions tomorrow, by the time the climate responded to the gases that are already there, the sea level would rise between 10 and 20 meters. We haven't had more than 400 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere for 3 million years. That's just basic science. So we have to actually start sucking CO2 out of the atmosphere. The best way to do that is to restore native bush and native wetlands. And so I propose that, you know, the council should invest on doing that on all council-owned land. My next comment is on water supply. How am I doing for time? I can't see a clock.
We're at the end, but I'm being flexible.
Thank you. I'll be very quick on water supply. My main proposal here is that I think there's a huge missed opportunity that could help address several of the problems related to both water supply and stormwater infrastructure and flood protection, and that is the installation of household rainwater tanks, 1,000 litre roof tanks on all houses in Christchurch. A 1,000 litre tank can be filled several times a year as the water is used, saving tons of water for every household. Your average Christchurch house could actually harvest up to 50 tons of water a year, 50,000 litres, if it had a large enough storage tank, but that would probably be unaffordable. So I would suggest that rainwater harvesting, which would help the need to avoid water restrictions in hot summers and drought periods, provide emergency water supplies in the event of earthquakes or other natural disasters, and also reduce the problems related to flooding and actually reduce the capacity of the stormwater pipes needed, would be something that the city should really seriously look into and provide subsidies or perhaps even tanks free of charge. It is an area I've been studying and researching for 40 years all around the world, in China, Africa, and Southeast Asia. I didn't think that Christchurch needed it because you've got such abundant, good groundwater, but given some of the issues and the high costs related to water infrastructure, I wanted to suggest the council seriously consider that. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If there is time for questions, I'd be happy to take them.
No, I'm going to have to move on to the next submission. Sorry, John, but thank you very much for your presentation. And that last bit was actually an issue that you hadn't specifically covered off in your submission. So that's great. So thank you for the for putting your effort into it.
And welcome to
Thank you, Leanne. All the best for the future.
Yeah, that's right. Pauline Cotter said, welcome to Christchurch.
Thank you very much.
22 years then.
Right. And the final submission for today is Mary O'Connor, also coming.